It's just one of the secrets to success in life. I don't believe any of us get to where we're at in life. I myself certainly did not get to where I'm at in life all by myself. There's more people than I can list that have helped me get here. I think we're all seeking many of the same things, whether it's happiness and joy, but connection is it's where the love comes from, and we all want to be loved. That's what we provide for the kids, and it doesn't matter whether you're 19 years old, 30 years old, or 60. We all want to be loved. We all want to feel validated.
That's right. We all want to be loved. In fact, Tony says that love and connection are, together, one of the 6 human needs that everyone has. Love and connection is absolutely vital to a fulfilled and happy life. And when that need isn't met, you feel it deep in your gut. And that's where Celine found herself. Listen as Celine describes the darkness she felt in her life, a life devoid of real, authentic love and connection, and what she did to change it.
I was about 10 years old when I came to the US, and my first memories is just as an only child who didn't speak a lick of English. I was thrown into this completely strange environment, from Rome, one of the capitals of the world, to a suburb, freezing cold. It was snowing at the time that I came, in the middle of Connecticut. I was completely thrown in this environment that I didn't really understand. And my memories since I was a child and being a teenager and through early adulthood is just feeling this crippling sense of just solitude and loneliness, and feeling like nobody really understood who I was or what I had to say or just my identity. And the first barrier to entry was obvious, which is I didn't speak English. So I literally could not communicate with my peers. But even as I did, I remember, just being picked on because I wasn't wearing the right clothes, or I didn't get it because I was from Europe. I remember not being invited to any of the parties or any of the events, and just, it was an isolating experience. But what I do remember whenever I was being counseled or mentored by people was just this pressure of what I did need to do, of who I did need to become. This whole learn English so well that nobody ever knows that you don't belong. Get really, really good grades and just kill it so that you can go to a really good school. And then you need to go to corporate so you can work hard and be good and make lots of money and be successful. It was almost like, from the moment I could speak English, the only thing I understood was that there was one path for me to walk. There was one way for me to go in order for me to be successful. And I had to fit into that mold or be cast out again.
So that's exactly what Celine did. She threw herself into her studies, was accepted to a prestigious college, and eventually landed a job at one of the top marketing agencies in New York City. But something wasn't right.
I struggled with anxiety, crippling anxiety and depression, because I just didn't feel like I was allowed to be who I wanted to be, who I really was to my core. And instead, I just had to live some placeholder life that was assigned to me. Going through college and then going into corporate America, always feeling like this pressure, this suffocation of who I needed to be. I never felt like I could really connect with anyone. I never felt like anyone understood me. And of course they didn't. I wasn't being myself. I wasn't even allowing myself to come out. I was hiding from me. And of course, I was having a really hard time creating real connections with the people around me because I hid. And not only that, I shamed people who were themselves because, of course, I was projecting.
And after all of that, the lifelong preparation, following the rules, dealing with her anxiety, Celine was laid off from the job she spent her whole life chasing. And when that happened, something shifted in her.
All of a sudden, I almost had this weird break in Matrix. Something broke for me where I realized that maybe there's something that isn't this out there. I had this thought, but I didn't entertain it. I kept looking for my new job. I put my head forward and I kept being like, okay, I'm going to go get a new job. I'm going to do everything that I can. And I remember for about a month, every day I'd go on LinkedIn, I'd do everything I could for me to get this new job. But then I'd go out and I'd do what I actually wanted to do. I would go to the park. I would meet my friends. I started writing that summer. I started my blog and discovered this piece of myself that I never knew existed because I didn't have the time or space to ever entertain that piece of me. and realized that I loved writing. And actually, I loved sitting in a park and striking up a conversation with a stranger. It made me feel less alone. And I loved having time for my friends and actually being able to give them the time and day and attention without being distracted by my phone. And all of a sudden, I started entertaining this crazy thought of, what if I just leave everything I've ever known behind? What if I just scrap it all and actually give myself a chance to design a life that I am proud of? There was this voice that kept saying, what if you just leave it all behind and follow your heart instead, and follow your purpose instead? And one day that decision won. I realized, okay, I'm going to do the crazy thing, but it has to have a purpose. What I wanted was to create a purpose and create a project that was bigger than myself. What I wanted was to get on a path that would impact me and impact others. I didn't want to just do this for me. That's where the idea for my social experiment came up, in which I challenged myself to circumnavigate the globe by couch surfing. However, never using the website, but rather using human connection. My why was to rediscover what it means to be human. And what better way to do that than to connect with humans around the world and put myself in a position where I had to look them in the eyes, where I had to be vulnerable, where I had to trust people, where I had to put my faith in others, even though I didn't have it. I wanted to do something that would give back. So as I traveled the world, not only would I stay in these people's homes, but I wanted to do something for them, to help them, whether that was something as simple as helping them around the house, or even something as complex as listening to their problems and being somebody who actually sat there with them and really was present for them. I went off on this journey in July 2016, and I traveled across Europe and Asia and Oceania, all the way back to the US. And through human connections, through talking to everyone and telling everyone my story and my purpose and my mission, I ended up crowdsourcing my dream to travel the world, to meet people, to make something better of myself, to actually pursue my passions of traveling, of writing, of meeting others and of connecting. And in that year, I ended up staying in the homes of over 100 people in over 20 countries across 5 continents.
Human connection took Celine around the world, from New York and back again, in the year that she spent traveling. But this trip also taught her something profound.
I realized